How you guys doing? Well, officially, hardcore servers have been announced. I'm really happy about that. For those of you who have been watching my content, I have been playing, hardcore classic servers for, gosh, two and a half years now, 2.5, 3 years now. I can't really remember how long it's been, but it's been a very, very long time. Okay, I am an admin in the community, and hardcore classic WoW is just a really big part of my life, and I love it a lot. So I was very happy to hear the announcement. And I know a lot of people wanted to see more from the announcement or hear more from the announcement. They wanted to hear rule sets and things like that. I'm kind of glad that they decided not to do that. But I think if you were watching, and maybe you'll want to watch the announcement again, when you heard, I can't remember the person's name who made the announcement from Blizzard, talking about, hardcore servers, official hardcore servers. He mentioned how he wants to keep your hardcore experience in your hands as much as possible and try not to dictate rules to you, which made me feel really good, because I have seen, if you have released in the last month a whole, there's going to be hardcore servers and here are the rules that there should be, I have watched your video. Okay, if you've released one, I've watched it, believe me. And I'm going to make my video, and I've been wanting to do this for over 2 weeks now, and I've had these notes sitting here, and I just haven't used them. I just kind of decided to wait once I heard that there was going to be an announcement on right after a hardcore event. I figured, you know what, let me just wait to see what he says, or what the person says. And I was really, really happy with the announcement. Obviously, we knew it was going to be hardcore servers. So, but I do want to go through my rules, what I think should be the official rules of hardcore. And I'm going to be honest and pretty blunt here. I think these are the best rules, period, flat out. Like I said, I've seen, if you've released a video, I've seen your video. Okay, I've seen your video and everybody else's video. And I just think out of all the videos that I've seen, there's only one video where I kind of agreed on multiple points with this person, and that was stay safe. His video was the only one where I agreed with some of the things. I didn't agree with everything he said, but I agreed with some of his points. And of course I agreed with like a point here and there that other people made, but overall, I feel like everybody would like literally miss the mark by a mile when it comes to hardcore server rules. So with that being said, I'm going to go over my rules. Okay. And again, I've had these notes for, gosh, over 2 weeks now, and we're gonna do it right now. Okay, better late than never, right? All right. So, the number one rule, permanent death. Okay, once you are dead, a player will be unable to resurrect. However, player can still live in the world as a permanent ghost. The reason why I want a player to be able to live as a ghost is just because of, I know what it's like to lose a character in the 50s. I know what it's like to get close and just not quite get there. The idea of living as that ghost and having your character still be in the world in some way is kind of refreshing. Not wanting to hit that delete button is really kind of cool. And there's things that you have to be able to do still in the game. You have to be able to hand over guild control, things like that. So I'm glad to know that that's actually how it's going to be. Okay. Based off of the video or the announcement that I saw, he did say that's exactly how it's going to be. So that makes me happy. Now, another thing I would do is remove all resurrection abilities, including Ankh, Soulstone, and the ability to Hearthstone while using any bubble or Light of a Loon. Okay? Now, I've heard people suggest that they could fix that by shortening your bubble, but honestly, with me, I don't really want to change many things in, you know, I don't want to change a player's kit like really at all. Okay, I want characters to remain as close to classic as possible and do as little changes as possible. Okay. Another one I have there is after that, what I would do is remove auto dungeon exits if you're out of a party. Okay. I don't like something that I've seen in a lot of videos that I've seen recently is a lot of death clip videos is whenever something happens in a dungeon, especially high level dungeons, people will automatically leave dungeon group at the pool. You know, you haven't even allowed your tank to pick anything up with and you've already dropped group. And now you want the healer or whoever to invite you back so you can try to help them fight through because you were too cowardly and you were willing to leave them to die. Okay? Number one, that's somebody you should never run a dungeon with again if you see somebody do that. Okay? And number two, something like that should not even be an option in a hardcore server. So I would remove that. I would also say that Blizzard must have a working plan to deal with the overpopulation in low-level zones. Okay, if you look at any guild right now on hardcore, the overwhelming majority of the players are going to be that are online right now are going to be below level 30. Okay, what that's going to say is like all of Darkshore, the Barrens, you know, Stone Talon Mountains, Horde, there's less people playing right now on Horde, but even so, the Barrens, you know, Red Ridge Mountains, Westfall, Elwyn Forest, Dunmoreau, so on and so forth, Loch Modan, all those zones are completely packed. It is so hard for you to get certain tags, like, let's say, the Defias Messenger, killing the Defias Messenger, you know, escorting the Defias Trader. There's so many things that are just so hard to do because there are so many people that are in low level zones because people die. And immediately when they die, they recreate a character and go again. All right, that's just a mentality that's in the hardcore community where you die and say, we go again. All right, it's just something that we do. Very few of us will die and then say, and shut their game down. The majority of us die and recreate immediately. It's just what we do. All right, so I think that Blizzard has to have a plan to deal with how lopsided zones are going to be. All right, the low level zones are going to be extremely populated. The higher level zones are going to be a ghost town. Okay, at least for a while until people learn how to play hardcore. All right, so that is something that I think that they really need to consider. Now, one thing that I think about is classic hardcore community has a rule where everything is solo self-found unless you're part of a duo or a trio. You can't group in the open world. Okay, I don't want any, and I know I should have probably said this at the beginning of the video, but I don't want any of the classic hardcore community rules to be live on official hardcore servers. The whole, you know, you can only run one dungeon, you can only, can't use the auction house, mailbox, trade, blah, 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 group in the open, all that is for the classic hardcore community and has nothing to do with hardcore. Hardcore equals permanent death, and that's it. In the majority of hardcore games that you play, that's what hardcore means. Okay? It's like survivability. You just can't die. Everything else is fair game. That's normally the way it is, and that's how it should be, in my opinion. Okay? If people want to play according to the classic hardcore community rules, there's a great add-on that is called Hardcore. Download it, use it, and enjoy it. But I really think that people should be really careful when trying to dictate the way other people should enjoy the game that they pay their hard-earned money to play. All right? And that goes with having any kind of dungeon cooldowns and things like that. If people want to dungeon cleave, let them dungeon cleave. And if you don't like dungeon cleaving, then don't dungeon cleave. Problem solved. Okay. Now, griefing. Griefing has been an issue on classic hardcore servers. Okay, our classic hardcore that the classic hardcore community has been playing on. It's been an issue. The ones in EU, Hydraxian Waterlords, and Bloodsail Buccaneers, among others. Okay, it is a problem. Now, I have pretty much come up with ways, in my opinion, to remove griefing from the game without really changing that much. Okay, the first thing that I would do is remove all quest PvP flagging. Okay, all quest PvP flagging. All right, if you are doing any quest that requires you to fight an NPC, and that fighting an NPC would normally flag you, you are no longer flagged for doing that. Okay, I would also make it so the only way for you to flag in the game is to physically choose to do it by clicking on a drop down menu right here and having something say player versus player right here, and click the enable button. Okay, that's it. And then once you hit the enable button, it'll say right here, you are on a hardcore server. Your character will not be resurrected for any reason at all. Are you sure you want to enable PvP? And then you choose yes. Okay, that should be the only way for you to be able to fight someone. Okay, that being said, that would take care of people, you know, going around and changing their names to be similar to, you know, enemies that you're trying to camp, or going in certain areas where enemies look a specific way, creating a character that looks exactly like those characters, and RP walking everywhere, hoping that you'll be dumb enough to attack them and flag yourself. That will keep you from being able to do that and from dying that way. Okay, so that will remove instantly that way of griefing. Okay, another thing that I would do is to make it so that enemies will only attack people that are on their aggro table. So if you go and kite Teramis into a zone other than the zone that Teramis is in, once Teramis leaves a certain radius or a certain area of where he was aggroed, and you know, Blizzard can choose how long of a distance that is, you know, 100 yards, couple 100 yards, whatever it is, they can choose that. Okay, once Teramis is kited past that point, his AoE damage will no longer hurt anyone that is not on his aggro table, and the only way to get on his aggro table is to attack him, to buff someone, or to heal someone who is actively on his aggro table. Okay, that will basically take care of people going around and getting people kiting enemies all around trying to kill mass people. The same exact rule set should be set for all enemies in the game, including guards. Okay, what we've been seeing lately is people taking guards from Gromgal base camp and kiting them all the way to Westfall. Okay, and the guards start going crazy in Westfall and killing any player around. That shouldn't be a thing. Once an NPC is kited past a certain area that they were aggroed at, okay, the threat should drop from anyone else that would, you know, what am I trying to say here? To keep them from aggroing somebody else. Okay, that's what I'm trying to say. Exactly what I said with Teramis, same thing here. Okay, of course, if you are Alliance and you go to Orgrimmar, you're still gonna get killed. Okay, you're still gonna get killed. All right, that's going to be something that's gonna happen. Okay, so in my opinion, if they make those 3 changes, I think it was 3 changes, to benefit or anti-griefing. I don't believe that griefing will even be an issue anymore on hardcore servers. Okay, now if I missed something, please let me know in the comments below. If you still see any loopholes, something like that, please by all means let me know. But I think those are the biggest ones. Anything other than that, I think that the community, that that Blizzard will be really easily able to stamp those out. Okay. Now, of course, this would also work against Infernal. Infernal should not attack people that are not on their aggro list. Okay, period. You should not be able to drop Infernals. You should not be able to mind control enemies to attack other players and have the player defend themselves and, put themselves into combat. That shouldn't be a thing. When you try to do something like that, you should, your character say, I can't attack that target. I can't do that. I can't attack that target over and over again. Okay. Because that target is protected. All right. Anyways, we're going to move on now. Battlegrounds. Okay. Okay. This is something that's very, very in the hardcore community. A lot of people are against Battlegrounds. Okay. They don't like the idea of Battlegrounds, mainly because they don't want anybody getting items from Battlegrounds and using them in the open world. So this is what I'm going to say about Battlegrounds. All right. Again, we're trying, in my opinion, to have a successful classic hardcore server. It should be as close to classic as possible. Okay. That will make more people want to play on it and have it be popular for the longest periods of time. And maybe hardcore can grow into Wrath of the Lich King, into Season of Mastery going forward, and even into retail, which I'm really hoping for. Okay, Battlegrounds. Battlegrounds are an integral part of classic WoW and should still be available for players to take part in on hardcore servers without the risk of permanent death. To make this work properly, and let me see, sorry about that. To make this work properly and keep hardcore true to its nature and the challenge, Battlegrounds will no longer reward any experience points at all, if they even did in Classic. Honor accumulated in Battlegrounds or anywhere may only be spent with Battleground, or may be spent at Battleground NPCs in major cities and special locations. The weapons, armors, and items purchased are only usable within Battlegrounds. PvP weapons and armors may be equipped while in the open world. However, they will have zero defensive or offensive capabilities unless the player enters a battleground. Players are automatically unflagged the second the battleground is over. That way you don't have to worry about people from the opposite faction staying in areas where people queue for battlegrounds, and the second that you get out of battlegrounds, ganking you. Okay, I believe that battlegrounds and PvP are a very, very important part of what makes World of Warcraft. Okay, and I want to see people doing it. I want to see people. The whole Montgarroth thing that they announced is so amazing. Excuse me. I want to give me a second. Like I have something in my throat. I want to see people PvP flagging in the open world, and I know some people are going to do it. Okay, I want to see the awesome PvP role players that are going to emerge on a server like this. People that are going to gear their characters out to 60, okay, and decide that they are going to raid Orgrimmar as Alliance or raid Stormwind as Horde and try to kill Thrall, or anybody in the Stormwind Castle. Okay, that's just what they've decided to do. And how many players of the opposing faction are going to flag up and risk their characters' lives in order to defend against that. I don't want them to make it so people aren't able to raid Crossroads. I want people to raid Crossroads. I want people to be killing, you know, NPCs in Westfall. I want that to be a thing, because I want for players and the community to decide to risk their lives to kill those players. And that's, I mean, I think that you're going to see some awesome PvP roleplay on this server. Okay. So that's that. That's what I want to say about PvP. Okay. Soul of Iron buff. Now, this is just like a little note that I put on there. A Soul of Iron buff. I would love for when you hit 60 on the hardcore server for you to be awarded with a Soul of Iron buff. Okay, and that's a little button that, you know, it's a passive ability. It would be under your general, and you would just, you know, put it anywhere you want to put it. When you press the button, your character does a little, like, you know, flex. You turn into stone, and your character flexes. I think something like that is so cool, and I really want to see something like that. Another thing I want to see, for those of you who have been playing in the classic hardcore community, know cargoes. Cargoes is kind of like, obviously we all did this, and it takes a village. Okay, I realize that, but Cargoes is like the pioneer of the modern classic hardcore gameplay mode. Okay, and you know, shout out to the whole community. Shout out to every single one of the admins and everybody who did something. All right, and everybody who just even played and took part in it. Shout out to everybody who downloaded the add-on. You know, but I would love to see a Cargoes NPC in the world. I want to see a Zug hunter or something just running around in a certain zone, you know, Stranglethorn Vale or Fairlaws. Okay. Just, you know, killing mobs randomly, you know, and you can walk up to him. When you walk up to him and salute him, he'll salute you back. I think it would be just so cool, little homage to hardcore and Cargoes, and kind of like the person who started it all. I really would love to see, like I said, love to see a little Cargoes NPC somewhere in the world, not announced. Nobody knows about it until he's discovered. Okay, I think it would be awesome. That's just what I think. Okay, basically, these are the rules. Like I said, guys, I try to keep it very, very simple and very basic. A lot of people are going to say, like, well, what about this and what about that? Well, if I didn't mention it, I mean, unless it's something that's like really important, that's, you know, game breaking, if you don't fix it on a hardcore server, then that's because I don't think that it should be on the server. Okay. Now, there is a possibility that I might have missed something, but I think the rules are very important to get right, okay, at the beginning, because I don't know how much Blizzard is going to want to support the hardcore servers long term. Okay, maybe they'll want to, but let's say one of the rules is not really working out. Are they going to be proactive in the beginning to fix it right away? Or are they just going to kind of let it ride and have the community die? Okay. That's why I think the rules are very important to get right. And that's why I also think the less rules, the better. The more freedom that players have to play the way they want to play, the better it is going to be for the server as a whole. All right. Like I said, if you're one of those people that wants to play a certain way and you don't want to, you know, do this or do that, well, then you know what? Just don't do it. But how somebody else chooses to enjoy their hardcore server is completely up to them. All right. If you want to play according to a certain rule, make sure that you know, create a guild. Create a guild and make sure that all the people that are in that guild play according to a certain rule set. That way you have people to play with and you don't have to mix with anybody else that doesn't want to play according to that rule set. It's okay to do that. This is your game. This is your world. Enjoy it. But try to stay away from telling people how they should enjoy their gameplay. I'm trying to make sure that I don't forget anything here, because I mean there is a lot to this. But anyways, all I'll say is this: if you think that I missed anything, if you want to touch on anything, you know, leave it in the comments down below. I definitely want to talk about this. Feel free to hop on any of my streams. Currently, I've been messing around on Fallout 76 and my classic character. This is, you know, my classic character is 37. I just started playing Fallout 76 again like 2 days ago, but I'll be back on this character and everything. I want to get it to 60 before official comes out. But I'm really excited about this. Thank you, Blizzard, for doing this. But like I said, this is something that I really, really want to grow. I want to see retail hardcore servers. I just think people are going to have a blast. I think that this is going to be one of the coolest things that World of Warcraft has done. And I really think that other MMOs might actually follow suit and do this as well, just because it's so cool and so freaking massively addicting. Take it from somebody who has literally created and killed over 50 characters. Like, and that's on a good day. Okay, well, not good day, but that's like, that number is in my mind. Like, I think I'm kind of like low on that number. Okay, I have lost so many characters, so many hardcore characters, and I know I'll lose more. I might lose this guy, you know, but I will always create another one. And I hope to see you guys in the world, and talk to you soon. Take care.